Tough loss probably undersells it a little bit. Feel really, really bad for the players down there in that locker room. They're hurting. As I told them, right? Life is tough. Sometimes you don't feel like you deserve this or you deserve that. It's not about deserving. It's about what are you going to do next? And that's what I'm faced with, and certainly that's what a locker room full of players and coaches is faced with, and that's what a fan base is faced with, and an administration is faced with, all those things. So I know what I'm going to do, and I got a pretty good idea what the rest of them are going to do too. So I'll open up for questions.
What do you say to Ethan after a moment like that?
I love him. Yeah, he's done incredible things here. Incredible. Think about a couple years ago, our passing game. And think about what he's been able to accomplish. He's a 3,000-yard passer. And more importantly, just to watch him grow as a leader and grow as – this is hard. This is really hard because he's the ultimate competitor. And he feels like he let people down, but I've told him, you didn't let anybody down. You're the reason we're in the game in the fourth quarter.
There's a lot of back and forth, and I always say one play doesn't define a game. What do you think the biggest key was to not being able to close it out?
Well, there's a lot of things, right? I mean, you could point to this play, to that play. Overall, we didn't stop the run. When we were able to stop the run and get them to third down, we got them. I think they were 1 for 8. So, but they ran for 300 yards. So it's hard to win football games when you can't stop the run. But yet there were times we did. There were times that the guys executed it perfectly. So, look, it's frustrating. It's been frustrating all year, and just got to get it fixed.
Going off that, you said you know what you're going to do. Does that involve making changes to the defensive coaching
staff?
staff?
Now's not the time. I was talking in broad strokes of I know I'm going to wake up tomorrow morning. I'm going to sleep for a little bit. I'm going to wake up tomorrow morning, get up swinging, fighting, because that's what we do. That's what I do. And I have a vision for this program, as I've told many people many times, and you know what? We're going to accomplish that vision.
One play call in the end. Are you satisfied with what that play call was there for Ethan to keep? I mean, were you okay with that call?
Say that again.
4th and 1 call, and then the final drive when Ethan got stopped. Were you okay with that call there? And
oh yeah,
that was.
Yeah, I mean, again, I've probably said this to you guys a number of times, right? But whether the call works or not doesn't mean it's a good call, right? Sometimes there's tremendous athletic performance that stops it. Sometimes there's a schematic that stops it. But if you've never called plays, it's hard to understand. You have about 12 seconds to make a decision, and you do it with all the information you have. I mean, there's a lot of great calls tonight, a lot of great plays tonight. Bad ones too. I mean, that was a heck of a football game if you didn't lose it, right? I mean, it was a tremendous game to be a part of, but when you lose, it hurts.
Greg, you mentioned you have a vision for this program. What does that vision entail?
Well, I've said it many times, is to bring championships to Rutgers, to bring Big Ten championships to Rutgers, to bring national championships to Rutgers. I don't believe there's any reason we can't do that here. But I've been saying that since 2000, since someone would say, oh, you were saying it for 25 years. Well, sometimes you got to look where you started and then where you restarted. But if someone's crazy enough to keep doing it, right, then who knows? Maybe we'll just get there.
Watching the performance of Antoine Raymond tonight, how big of a building block is he for this team for the future and moving forward?
He reminded us all of somebody tonight, right? When you watched him run tonight, he looked a lot like Kyle tonight now. He had a great game a couple weeks ago, but tonight, against that defense, he really ran with authority. I thought he was a punishing runner tonight. He was a violent runner. Because some of those runs, with all due respect to everybody else, were all him. He made a guy miss in the backfield. He made another guy miss. And I mean, there was plays that were blocked for him, but then there was some that he just made him on his own. So, yeah, I was proud of his performance. Proud of him.
Greg, what do you want to say about your offensive line?
Yeah, I thought that's always the hardest thing to see, Jerry, when you're on the field. So, but when you have the results that you did in the run game, there were some plays that just came flying out of there. So, proud of all year long, proud of the toughness that they've displayed.
You mentioned last week at Ohio State, with some of the fourth down calls that you made, you need to, kind of be extra aggressive to kind of take over this game. Did you feel the same tonight with some of the calls that you made, including the fake field goal?
I felt it was a little different matchup this week, to be 100% candid with you. But the fake field goal I had so much confidence in, it was every time. So this was the first time they didn't do it. And I won't get into details what it is, but it's the first time all season they didn't do it. So either real good coaching by them or somehow something got out. I don't know.
Rick, what will it take to get this program to the next step?
Well, I mean, I refuse to get into the woe is me, right? But we've been operating at a completely different level than the people we compete with. So really what we've done is almost miraculous. And everybody wants to talk about things. People don't know the true facts of what has gone on. But I'm fine with it. I don't need to justify our performances. I really believe we'd be playing again this year, this team. It hurts very much, but we'll be back. And we'll be back. We have some people now that understand what it takes, and we'll be back in the way we're supposed to be. Won't be overnight, but it'll happen.
Last week at training camp, you were pretty open about the defense being a work in progress. Why do you feel like that unit never just kind of hit the stride, found that consistency that you kind of talked about hoping it would find at some point during the season?
Yeah, I mean, it is a loaded question, but it's a very valid question, right? Because all season long, that's been something that has kept us from winning as many games as we possibly could. And somewhere in that time, I tried to get more involved, and I did. Sometimes it helped. Sometimes I'm not sure it did anything. There's a lot that's, you lose some key contributors. You lose 2 starters at least off that defense for the year, early in the season. One in training camp. Some years you just don't have it, on one side of the ball or the other. This year we didn't certainly have it, when you look at how we performed. So, certainly my job to make sure we do have it. Because if we had it both this year, we're competing for some very exciting stuff. So it definitely feels like a bit of a missed opportunity for sure.
The way the offense played, the way you were leading in fourth quarter against Iowa, Minnesota, and tonight, to not make a bowl game, does this season feel like a step back? Does it feel like a wasted season, given what you guys have?
No, there's never a wasted season. These are people's lives you're talking about. It's not an article or something, And I don't mean that in a negative way. These are people that laid it on the line for an entire year. Some of them 4 years here, right? And this is not an easy place to play. I know that we work hard. We have to. Again, I don't stand up here much and talk about it. If we do what other people do, we will win 2 games a year. We need to do more. We need to do this with finances. We need to train harder. So you know what? That can get you sometimes. We're going to get to the point where we don't need to do that so much. And that's when you can really capitalize on the talent of your players. And we'll get into all that. We'll get together at some point. We have signing date Wednesday, which is bang, bang, right? And then we'll get together and we'll talk when I have more stuff to share with you, because I do think our fans, they deserve an answer on, what could have been, what was. I get that. But you know what? I'm not sure I have the answer quite yet. I have some real thoughts, but I need a couple days to really just get by myself and do some thinking and talk to some people that I really respect their opinions, and then you got to make some decisions. Yeah, there's no doubt about it. Again, as I do every time, guys, I really appreciate you covering the team. Some of you traveled all over the country to see us play and to write about us and cover us, and I do appreciate it. I do. every piece of this puzzle makes it special. And you're certainly a big piece of the puzzle. So thanks.